Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mama Christine's podcast, Living Life Through Experience. So I'm very happy to report we're on week 15. It's hard to believe it's been oh my gosh, going on 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is. I think it was April. April was my first one. So it's great to be, this far out and just bringing you guys some great information every single week. And of course, everything I try to talk about is about things that you experience in life that help you to learn, and how to live your life through the experiences that you've been through. So it is very, very exciting. So today I really want to talk about some different things, and it's going to be a little bit of all over the place. Not confusing, but all over the place. It's about acceptance. And that is today's topic, is acceptance, and probably a little more involved than what you imagine. So of course, let's start with a card, okay? Because you know me, every week it's got to pull a card and see what the universe has to say. So here we go. Cards are flying all over the place. All right. Okay, we shuffled, we split, and here we go. Boom. Ooh, that makes sense. Don't hate, meditate. So this card is so pretty. It really is. I know the light makes it kind of oh my goodness, but you can see it's got the beautiful pinks and whatnot. And it is. It's about don't hate, meditate. And what happens is the don't hate part is mostly along the lines of, instead of, oh my gosh, being angry, knocking yourself down, putting yourself down, judging, being angry, those kinds of things. It's don't be in that mindset. So don't hate. Meditate means release it, let it go, right? So this way we can accept life as it is. And that's the toughest part, is because everybody in this world has an opinion. Everybody has a thought process of how, when, why, or whatever should happen. And the person right next to you could be your significant other, your children, other family members, friends, co-workers, anybody, fellow church people, people in groups, whatever, that have a completely opposite thought process than yours. So think about this. We start with belief systems, okay? And belief systems, of course, start from childhood. From the minute you're born, your parents are talking to you. Conversations are happening that even though you're a baby and an infant and you're not really responding to communication or conversation, obviously, not yet anyway, you're still hearing a lot of what's coming in. And it's all energy. And then you get a little bit older and you hear more conversations, or this is when mom or dad, or anybody for that matter, starts saying, oh no, we don't do this, we do that. And oh no, that's not the right way, this is. Don't do that, that's wrong. No, we don't believe in that, we believe in this. And right away we're already impressing our children with belief systems that we believe. And all we can teach them is what we know, right? But at the same time, as they get older, this is when we have to accept the fact that they may not agree with us at some point in their life. And prime example, I was brought up, I guess you're pretty much a normal medium income household, right? Small town, no fancy stuff here. Basically, we always joke around. It says Westport is nothing but cows and farms, and pretty much it is. But I love that. And of course, my grandparents were very Catholic. And so, of course, I grew up Catholic and, had to do the whole confirmation thing, first communion, all those things. And once that was done, I walked away from it. I just did not agree with it. Now, my grandparents, mind you, were not very happy because they had a firm belief in Catholic religion, and I did not. My parents were kind of midway because, again, you're talking, my parents married in the 60s. So at the same time, my dad had already been previously married. And, therefore, when they got married, my parents got married, it was by the justice of the peace, so it wasn't recognized by the church. And of course, neither was having children out of, that situation. So it was a whole like craziness. But anyway, my parents accepted me for who I was and what I was doing. They didn't say anything different like, oh, you should go to church, you should do this, you should do that. You do what you want to do. You do what makes you happy. Yes, did they have beliefs that they would say to me like, oh yeah, well, I definitely believe in this and I definitely believe in that. And I'm like, that's fine. And they understood how I felt. My grandparents, again, different generation, didn't really want to hear it. But anyway, so these are the things that happen. So, you grow up and all these things are going on and you're learning different things. You're learning from teachers. You're learning from religious people. You're learning from family, from friends. Oh my God, you can learn from everywhere, right? Friends will have different mindsets, thought processes. Your friends' parents will have different thought processes, and you're getting all these different views. And you still have to come up with what feels right to you. And therefore, accept what you believe as your truth. And the reason why I say that is because what happens is, okay, I've had people come in to see me. Now, most of you, I'm sure all of you who watch me, I do Reiki, I do readings, right? Catholic religion does not like readings because they think that we are doing works of the devil and we're just telling you what you want to hear to get you on our side. Okay, not the case. Not the case. Because I know the readings I do, they're all very positive, very uplifting. Are you going through some crap? Oh God, yeah, you're going through crap. But you know what? If we do this and we do that, or you do, you can change the way your life is going for the better, for the positive. So I don't see any negative about that. Okay. So my belief is, accept me for who I am. This is what I do. And so I've had people come in and they sit down and have a reading and I start shuffling up the cards and they're like, oh my God, am I going to get in trouble for this? I'm like, by who? Your mom? Yeah, you're a grown person. Who are you going to be in trouble with? Will God be mad at me for getting a reading? I'm like, no. Why would he? Doesn't make any sense. But people have this rule in their head. It's so like stuck in there that they want the reading because that's what they truly believe in, that it would help them in whatever shape or form. But at the same time, that feeling is just like, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. Oh my God, God's going to be mad at me. Oh my God, what would my mother say? And these are all comments that I've had in my room. And I'm like, I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with this. You could go through the whole reading. And if you decide that you feel too guilty over it, then anything I told you, just leave it. Just leave it. You don't have to follow the guidance of God or the divine or the angels or your guides or your loved ones. You don't have to. You have free will. Do what you want. So, and then I just, of course, go on with the reading and whatever happens after that. That's not up to me. I do my job. It's up to them to take what they want and leave the rest behind. But again, people do not always accept themselves for their own belief system. Everybody changes. And I've mentioned this before, like my granddaughter, she had a coming of age party, or a coming of age ceremony, I should say, at her church, which is open to every person in the world. It's gay, straight, lesbian, believe, not believe, God-fearing, it doesn't matter. Whoever you are, you can come. Okay, it's everybody. And their essay that they had to write was, who are you? And I think she said it perfectly when she said, well, who am I? How do I know? I can only tell you who I am right now. And that is the absolute truth. I'm like, kids are so smart. It is the absolute truth. Who are you? In this moment, this is who I am. Come back and see me tomorrow. I could be somebody else. Today, I believe in this. Tomorrow, I could believe in something else. Because things change constantly. So allow yourself to accept yourself for your beliefs, for where you are, for who you are, and for anything else. There's no need to struggle with the constant, tennis match, I call it. You know, your heart is like, yes, this is what I believe in. Then your head is like, no, what is they going to say? No, but I believe in this. Yeah, but what if you're wrong? Oh, but this feels really good to me. But what if God's going to get mad at you? Like, oh my God, this is what goes on in people's minds. Okay? The head, the heart, the head, the heart, the tennis match, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to tell you right now, like I've said it a million times, your truth lies here in your heart. It is in your heart. It's not in your head. Okay? Think of your head as a mechanical thing. All right? Yes, it thinks. Yes, it processes information, but your heart knows your truth. Your heart knows your truth. So the minute those negative talk starts and negative things are starting, you can't, you won't, what if, what happens, that's your ego. That is the brain, because it's trying to rationalize what you believe in. So stop it. Stop it. It's so funny because people are so afraid to put out who they are, what they believe in, so on and so forth, because they're afraid of being rejected. You know, and, well, I want to be accepted. Well, then if you want to be accepted, then just be you. And if people don't accept you and they reject you, screw them. Who cares? The right people will come along that will accept you. And that, you know, is true friendship or true love or true connection. Okay? So, I mean, truly think about that. Think about that. Either side, you know, think of it this way, okay? And I know not all romantic relationships are perfect, by all means. I've been divorced twice. But think about this. If you want to be with somebody and you want to marry somebody, if they are like kind of like really fitting the bill for you, then you know it's right. If you're like, well, it's okay, but it's not what society tells me I should have. So maybe I should wait for somebody who maybe has more money or has a better job or has a better goal-oriented future, right? Somebody who prepares for the future. Stuff does not make love, okay? Emotions, connection, that makes love for one person to another. So don't make your connections. If it's not the right person, then you don't marry them. If it's right, you stick with them, right? So think about that. So as far as friendships or connections with anybody, it either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, just say thank you, because you got that person out of the way and out of my life. So now I can go on to the next. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Stop worrying about being accepted into everybody's life, because you're not meant to have a connection with everybody in this world. You're really not. Only a certain handful of people are going to come through your life. The right ones will stay, the wrong ones will leave. Remember that. It's not about you not being accepted by the wrong ones. It's about you not accepting who you are as a person to attract the right ones. Because that's what happens a lot of times, is we do not accept who we are. I was just having this conversation a couple of days ago with one of my clients, and I says, you know, we're talking about, you know, who we are now compared to who we were before, and what our belief systems were a few years back compared to what they are now. And it was so funny because her complaint was her weight. And I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. And she goes, you know, you're absolutely right. She says, that's what I've come to conclude, that, you know what, this is me. I can just be mindful of what I eat and what I'm doing, make sure I stay active. And she says, this is me. I'm no different. On the inside, I'm the same me, just because my outside looks a little different. So as long as I'm mindful about what I'm doing, I'm fine. And I said, yeah, exactly. I said, but think about that. How long did time have to go by before we figured out those things? I mean, I was telling her, I says, you know, I feel the same way. I said, where the weight I am at now, I said, yes, I am heavier than I used to be. But I says, you know, it's not that I'm an indulger. I don't overeat. I'm not a sugar freak. I says, I eat normal amounts of food. I move around as much as I can. I mean, my job is not very active, obviously, but, you know, I move around as much as I can. And this is where it's been for quite a few years now. So it's like, I don't know, just accept it. Can I keep working on it? Of course I can. Can I be mindful of it? Of course I can. But I'm not going to drive myself crazy and feel rejected by my own self for who I am on the outside. You know, years ago, we used to think, oh my God, I'm so fat, I'm so fat, I'm so fat. Because if you saw one little roll going over your waistband of your pants, you were fat. And I look at those pictures now and I go, oh my God, what was I thinking? What the hell was wrong with me? I was so thin, right? But again, I come from that generation of the Barbie doll, you know, and you're supposed to be big on the top, small in the middle, and big on the bottom. And it's like, no, no. You know what? Be you. Be who you are. Now, you all know if you are overweight, you would know why. Most of the time, it's because we overeat. Or most of the time we eat huge portions, or we're constantly eating all day long, or we're doing a high sugar content, high starch, high carbs, those kinds of things. You know, and if you're doing that, then be mindful of that. You know, if you don't move at all, you sit around all day, guess what? Be mindful of that. So for the most part, we kind of know maybe why we are the size we are. And of course, don't forget, family has a lot to do with it as well. If you have family members, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, if it runs in the family that not everybody in your family is a twig, then guess what? You're not going to be a twig either. I might have been a twig a few times in my life, but when I really look back at that, they were usually during very stressful situations, to be perfectly honest. As a kid, I think I was so underweight, my mom used to say. My grandmother, oh my God, she wanted to feed me constantly. You're so thin, you got to eat more. I think it was just because of the craziness going on at home. I don't know. Whatever might have been going on might have been creating maybe some stress in me, and I was just very thin. Because then I went to being heavy. And as I got to middle school, I got a little heavier. And in high school, I kind of held that same size. But then by the time I got out of high school, I was like, I really wasn't heavy. You know, I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, why'd you think you're so fat? Why? Because you weren't a twig like somebody else? Everybody's different. And this is where acceptance comes in. You know, other times in my life during stress was usually, it was during my divorce, during my mother's illness, after having my twins, because that's stressful. After my second divorce, I lost a bunch of weight, but it was all due to craziness, nerves, you know, stress. I'm comfortable in my life. I am totally comfortable in my life now. You know, do I have things come up? Of course I do. But you know what? Like myself, you need to really start accepting who you are. And even if you are, I'm just going with weight because that's usually a very common denominator with people. It's, if you find that you're overweight because you overeat or you eat too much or you're eating too much junk or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Then you know what? Accept yourself for who you are, but then do what you can to make some change. You know, nobody's saying you have to be like a full-on athlete and you got to eat like, you know, a bird. And no, just do what you can to change something. One thing. So maybe it's changing, I don't know. I'm not a nutritionist, but let's just say instead of having cookies, I'll have a glass of water. Right? Do things like that can help yourself. Now that, of course, we're running into a whole different topic. It's about acceptance. So accept the circumstance for what it is in this moment. Can your circumstances change? Of course they can. They always can. Can you make choices? Of course you can, always. Choices are always there for you to make. So the whole thing about acceptance is the reason, the reason why I have decided to discuss acceptance is because lately the stuff I have been seeing on, social media, television, out in public, it's like, what the hell is going on? So this is what I mean. You know, they all criticize the Barbie doll because they said the plastic Barbie doll made every girl in the world think that she should be that thin. When in all reality, it was the people around you going, oh my God, you're so chubby. Oh my God, look at you, you look pudgy. Oh my God, you've got fat since I last saw you. I think the words did more to my weight than the Barbie doll. Because in my mind, I knew this was a plastic doll. In my mind, I knew I wasn't supposed to look like her. I definitely know it had a lot to do with what was said to me. And of course, in school, you got to deal with kids who are not very nice. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. You know, it's like, whatever. So today, I don't give a shit. You can do or say what you want. I don't care. Just go away. Back then, oh my God, deep-seated, oh my God, don't hate, meditate. Man, I wish I knew how to meditate back then. But that's where a lot of it came from. So I accepted that as my truth. That always sat here in the back of my mind. So every time I try on a pair of pants, and of course we all know, now I know, we all know that when you go to buy clothes, you can pick up two pairs of pants, both the same size. One will fit and one will not. It's just the way this stuff is made, okay? Because then none of it's made here, we know that. But it's made in so many different countries. Now, you have to make sure that they are making them according to our sizes. Doesn't always happen. I've picked up my size and put it on, and I'm going, oh my God, these things are huge. Did I lose weight? Then I go get another pair of a different designer, and it's like I put those on, and like, oh my God, have I gained 50 pounds? I can't even get these things on. So, you know, we take all those things as truth. And I remember even my daughter one time says, oh my God, Mom, I always wear this size. Why won't it fit me? Because they're made differently from every manufacturer. So guess what? Don't look at it as just the number of the size. The sizes change all the time. The way they're made changes all the time. Look at who you are. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. And, you know, I had to really instill that in her because she truly believed that she was getting mega fat or something. And God knows she's not. Not at all. But this is what happens. So all these little things, right away, it gets stuck up here like, oh my God, I can't fit into my own size. This is happening, that's happening. This person said I looked a little pudgy today. Somebody says, oh, are you okay? You're looking like you put on some weight. Just because something is said to you does not make it true. Now, I've said this before. I don't know if it was one of my daily videos or maybe in one of the podcasts, but why is it we take one bad comment somebody gives us and makes that our truth, but the 10 good comments we've had go off the side? Somebody can come up to you and go, you're stupid. And now this gets stuck right here. And somebody comes by and says, oh my God, I love your sweater. It's pretty. Oh my God, you look great today. Hey, what have you been doing? You look like you've lost weight. Oh my God, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. You're such a great person. All these great comments coming in, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I'm stupid. And the minute you try to do a project, say at work or at home or whatever, and you're having trouble with it, I'm stupid. See that one comment, how it sticks, the one negative comment, but with the other 10 nice ones, we kind of leave it on the side and don't believe it? Why is that? So you have to be mindful on what you accept as your truth. I always say, don't worry about rejection. You know why? Because if you get rejected, you look up and you go, thank you, because obviously you did not need to be there with that situation, with that person, whatever it is. So again, acceptance. Now, lifestyle changes have been crazy over the years. That's where I was going. Was back in my day, it was the Barbie doll. Today, it's other things. You know, every generation changes. Although I find, I must say, in 2025, I do find that yes, kids can still be cruel sometimes, but kids are more open. Kids will really grasp onto this new idea of kindness, non-judging, okay? And maybe not little kids, right? It's kind of like as they get older. Like, I know with my kids, I did my best to instill those things into them. And I know they're all very good to other people in public, but like, for example, one of my daughters will be at a store or a restaurant or whatever, and she'll say, oh my God, your hair is gorgeous. You know, and it'll be somebody with absolutely the most gorgeous hair you've ever seen. And the person's like, oh my God, thank you. You know, people are more accepting of giving compliments and receiving compliments instead of, I don't know, to me, when I was a kid, it was the same thing. It was probably more criticizing than compliments, you know? So I do find that a lot of that does happen. Now, is that the absolute truth everywhere? Probably not. I'm only in one little section of the world over here, so I only go by what I've seen. Again, it's living life through experience. So through my experiences, this is what I've seen. Now, is this something that could go further? Of course, God only knows. This is something that I think should be north to south, east to west, and across the globe, whatever. Everybody should learn to have kindness. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. If you don't agree with the person, just move on, right? We've become a society of my way or the highway in certain aspects, and it's like, it's not right. It's not right. You can have your way, but it doesn't mean everybody else has to. Accepting life, in whatever way fits for you. You know, there's so many different things. We have a right to choose our politics, our religion, our person that we want to be with for the rest of our lives. You know, our friends, our jobs, careers, you know, all those things. We have the right to choose all that. So why is it a mindset is not always accepted? And if we believe in something and we say it out loud and somebody rejects it, right away we reject it. Well, I must be wrong. Or I'm not going to say anything because people are not going to think I'm good enough or something. You know, I mean, look at myself. I'm a Reiki master. I've been a Reiki master for 20 years. I've been reading cards for, 15 years. So it's like, when I get asked, what do you do for a living? I own my own business. I'm a Reiki master. I'm an intuitive. I do life coaching, spiritual coaching, right? I teach classes. This is who I am. And all the time, you know what I get? Oh my God, that's amazing. What's that like? I stopped worrying about what everybody else thinks. I really did. Like when I had to fill out paperwork for my kids in church because my ex-husband wanted them to go, mother's occupation, Reiki master. I didn't care. You don't like the fact that I'm a Reiki master? Then you don't have to take my kids, okay? Whatever. We'll figure something else out elsewhere. I've gone for jury duty. What's your occupation? Self-employed, Reiki master, intuitive. They don't like that on a jury, I guess. They don't need a psychic on the jury. I don't know, it's who I am. I don't care anymore. I used to care. I don't care anymore. In fact, I remember, I want to say maybe 3-4 years ago, I was invited to my daughter's boyfriend's house to meet his mom and his stepdad, his grandmother, right? I'm like, oh my God, all these new people. And they knew of me because my daughter talked about me, but they didn't know me because they hadn't officially met me. So we all went for dinner and we met. And so they're all like, I'm thinking like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm a weirdo because, you know, they all have these great high paying jobs and, you know, whatnot, careers. And here I am, a psychic and a Reiki master. It turns out they were very intrigued with what I do. So I was already projecting worst case scenario, when in all reality, they were very intrigued with what I do and how long we've been in business and so on and so forth. So you know what? I accept who I am. And I just tell them, if somebody asks, this is who I am. No questions asked. Here you go. This is me, right? Acceptance. Oh my God, there's so much in this world to accept. I still find that, especially with women, and I know a lot of men wear makeup now, and that's where I'm going with this, is they wear so much makeup that they actually turn themselves into somebody else. Meaning they look like this before the makeup, and then when they're done, they look like this. And it's, I want to say, slightly unrecognizable. And I wonder why. I mean, you know, more power to you if that's what you do, but why do you cover your face so much that you look perfect? Porcelain. Human beings are not perfect. We're not porcelain, okay? We have freckles. We have little marks. We have all these different things. I mean, even me, like on my forehead, I got little holes in my forehead. You know what that's from? Chicken pox at the age of 18. Those are my little scars, okay? That's who I am. I know some do it as a social influencer. I know some do it and get big company dollars for promoting makeup. I know it's like their career, but still, I find that there's a lot of them that actually go out every single day like that. And it's like, why? What are you afraid of? Why can't you show who you are? Why are you painting over your canvas? You know? And it takes me back to like Alicia Keys, Pam Anderson, two women who decided, you know what, screw Hollywood. I'm going without makeup. And they are absolutely gorgeous. The problem is, everybody is so used to seeing, especially Pamela Anderson, with so much makeup on, that now that she's not wearing it, they go, oh, I don't like the way she looks. She should put the makeup back on. You might as well just look at her and go, you're ugly, because that's what people are thinking. When in all reality, if she came out from the very beginning, plain face, and just went to work as she was, you would have gotten used to her as she was. Now people will say, well, she wouldn't have been accepted into Hollywood looking like that, which is pretty sad. Because again, it's all about looks. It's not about who you are as a person and what you have to offer. So, not to get too off track with that, but acceptance works in so many, many different ways. Oh my God. Accepting defeat, right? Things don't work. Some people just refuse to accept that they've lost, you know? And it's like, no, sometimes you're meant to lose. And again, thank you. Because you know what? Maybe you weren't meant to have that or to be there or whatever it is. Acceptance is about negative things. It's about positive things. It's about relationships, friendships. It's about life. It's about everything. Even our food today. You know, we've gone from like what we're supposed to look like, all the makeup that women or even men wear. If you're an entertainer, that's one thing, you know. But I'm like, on an everyday basis, why do we have to be that? Even our food isn't acceptable anymore. We've become so, I don't know, programmed for easier is better. Truly. Funny story, as we're talking about the food aspect of acceptance and rejection and all of that. And I mean this in the way how our bodies absorb and accept or reject food. Think about this. Now, again, I've told you guys I'm not shy. I'm 57. When I was a kid, you didn't hear about food allergies. Very, very minimal, okay? Like that. You didn't hear about autism. You didn't hear about ADD or ADHD. You didn't hear about all these behavioral issues. You didn't hear about a lot of different things that are going on with kids today. So you're talking a 50-year span, let's say. We'll just go with that for even numbers. You go from then to now and go, what the hell happened? Now, if you think about it, my grandmother, both of them actually, were very good cooks. For the most part, cooked the majority of everything homemade. And there was no issues. There was no dairy issues. There was no dietary issues. There was no bowel issues. There was none of that going on. No skin issues. And today, there's all kinds of issues. You know, when pharmaceuticals start putting commercials on TV with 30-year-olds telling you how they suffer with their rheumatoid arthritis, there's a problem. I mean, what the heck? So I'm not going to get into the whole pharmaceutical thing. But what I mean is, we have accepted what's been given to us, food-wise, as truth. Not even close. Not even close. Funny story. I'm going to go back to my funny story now. my son has a friend. So him and his partner went to a restaurant, and it was one of those farm-to-table restaurants. And I mean, so farm-to-table that this restaurant, they slaughter their own animals, grow their own fruits and vegetables, the whole thing. Everything is cooked from scratch. So him and his partner went. And when they got back and I saw them the next time, I'm like, hey, how was it? I didn't like it. Not at all. Why didn't you like it? I mean, that's got to be the best thing ever, right? Farm to table. You can't get any fresher than that. He's like, it tasted horrible. I'm like, what? He says, I think I'm just so used to today's food. He says, when I got the real thing, I didn't like it. Think about that, right? We have accepted junk on our plates. Over the years, it's been more and more and more and more, to the point where we can't even read the ingredients that is in our food. We think it's real and it's not. Just because a company makes it more convenient for you does not mean it's better for you. Not at all. If you want to get into the whole food industry thing, check out a lot of the docuseries on Netflix or other streaming services about what companies have done with our food and where it goes and where it came from. And I have had store-bought chicken, which it's good, okay. Mind you, 99% of the world probably buys store-bought chicken. But again, if a chicken breast is only supposed to be this big, why is it when you go to a supermarket, they're this big? They're all pumped up with hormones and all kinds of water and God knows what else to make them look bigger and better, right? Because what has different companies done over the years? Think about it, since like I was a kid, okay? I'll have a soda. Now it's I'll have a soda, right? Oh, free refills, more, take it more. All sugar, all chemicals, more, bigger is better, right? Our portions have gone from a 2-ounce piece of meat to 12 ounce, right? Portions have gone from this to this. Portions are bigger, everything's bigger, everything's pumped up with junk. It's like, oh my God. Now, it's so funny, because I'm half Italian, so I love cooking my Italian food. And a friend of mine said, you should buy your pasta at this store over here. I'm like, why? Because she says that one woman I follow, her blog and her recipes and whatnot, and she was saying that when you're buying store-bought pasta at your local supermarket, it has many, many, many ingredients. Do you know how many ingredients are in pasta? Real pasta? 2. Flour and eggs. That's it. Go to this store, they have the Italian. It'll say made in Italy. It'll say bronze die cut on it, I believe it is. And that's authentic pasta. She says because the name brands that we have, if you notice when you buy your pasta, it's super shiny. It's not supposed to be shiny. It's supposed to be dull. So right there, that's something. Our fruits, our vegetables, everything is sprayed, right? I have never in my lifetime seen so many bruised apples in my life. I have bought apples. I don't eat a lot of them, but I do occasionally pick up 2 or 3. And I buy the fresh ones. I don't buy a bag. And I buy them at the supermarket, like most people. And what happens is I'm like, oh, I'm going to have an apple. So my weird food allergies are I can't eat apple peels, but I can eat apples. I know, figure that one out. Can't eat lettuce either. But anyhow, so I'll peel an apple. And as I'm peeling it, the whole inside is bruised. But yet the outside looked amazing. It was perfectly round and perfectly red and shiny, and because it's been sprayed. Coated in wax, sprayed. Like, really? So what are they doing to our fruits and vegetables? They're spraying them. They're manipulating them. I mean, if any of you have social media, especially Facebook, you've ever heard of, I'm sure you've seen a company called Misfits. If a bell pepper is not in a perfect shape, they toss it aside. Well, this company takes the Misfits and sells them. So why is it we can't accept a crooked pepper, okay? Or a tomato that's smaller on this side than it is on this side. When I was a kid and my grandfather had a garden, we just picked the vegetables out of the garden and we ate them no matter what shape or size they were in. You know, so why is it everything has to be perfect for the store? Perfectly rounded, shiny in color and all that. We're accepting this as truth and it's not our truth. And I know many of you out there going, no, I know it's coated in whatever, or it's been manipulated or whatever. You know, everything bioengineered. What does that mean? You know, so unfortunately for most people, not everybody can run to a farmer's market, to the local farmer in your town that actually grows his own things, doesn't spray it with all kinds of chemicals, you know. But it's expensive. And I know why, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, you know. And we have a young gentleman here in Westport. Well, he's probably in his late 20s now. I'm 30 by now. Who knows? Anyway, he graduated from high school wanting to be a farmer. But he only has so much field space. So he has other fields that he uses, but he rents them. So he's got to pay rent for his fields. He's got to pay for his tractors. He's got to pay for the seeds, the fertilizers, you know, getting water down there, you know, all these different things. And of course his labor, because that's a, oh my God, that's a lot of labor. So yeah, okay, so it is more expensive. And yes, it's definitely different. I mean, like I said, chicken, I bought chicken at the store. It's good. I got a fresh chicken from somebody who has their own chickens and slaughters their own chickens. And I got one of their chickens. And oh my God, let me tell you, that was the best chicken ever. Because there was nothing in it. Just like we've gotten so used to these huge portions. There's a restaurant that I've been to where they serve a half chicken. And at one point, it filled up like half the plate. It was huge. And all of a sudden, the chickens got smaller. And it was like, oh, well, what's with the tiny chickens? It's like a pigeon. It's like, that's like a real chicken. That's why. It hasn't been pumped up with all kinds of water and hormones and whatever. It's real chicken. She changed her chicken. And a real chicken is not 8 pounds or 10 pounds. A real chicken is like 4, 5, 6 maybe. That's a real chicken. Chickens are not meant to be this big, okay? They may look like that with their head and their feet and their tail and all their feathers, but the body itself of a chicken is not that big. So, you know, we've gotten so accustomed to bigger portions, bigger sizes, big, that when we get something that's normal, we go, oh, is that it? That's all we got? We have accepted a lot of our junk. So what do we need to do? Maybe we need to start rejecting junk, okay? Cookies, pastries. I don't buy pastries. I mean, at a bakery I might, but I don't buy pastries at the supermarket. Because one, I love to cook and I can make it myself. But let me tell you, when I make it, it's good. When you buy this box stuff, to me it does. It tastes chemical. It really does. It tastes plastic. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's like saying grape soda tastes like purple. I don't know. So I have started rejecting a lot of things. I have been making my own breads. I always make my own desserts. I make my own like muffins, cookies. Anytime I go to a friend's or something and they say, oh, bring a dessert, I bake something. And not out of a box. I bake it myself. It's homemade. It's from scratch. Cooking, same thing. I buy fresh meats that the best I can from the supermarket. But I put in, you know, fresh veggies. I don't buy canned stuff anymore. I make my own bouillon, for chicken soup, or beef bouillon. I make my own. Onion soup mix. Read the ingredients, you'll pass out. I make my own onion soup mix. I do all these things. Oh, it's so much work. Oh my God, but do we do what's right or do we do what's easy? I'd rather take some time on one of my days off to do a lot of food prep, because believe me, when I make a mason jar, you know, big mason jar full of chicken bouillon, it's gonna last me months and months, okay? Do your own stuff. Start rejecting this pre-made crap, you know? Again, because then what happens is it's making us sick, because we're just filling our bodies with preservatives and chemicals and all this. And it just saddens me to see that everybody accepts this as truth. This is how it should be. And it's like, eeh. I know that's all we have, but it's not all we have. We have choices no matter what. There's ways around different things. So do I have a ton of money to go shop at Whole Foods or at a farm and buy half a cow? I do not, okay? But I will buy what I think is best or better, than other things. I will not use canned stuff. I will not use pre-made stuff. I will not use anything I don't feel is good enough to put in my stomach. Because I can tell. I love bread. Again, I'm Italian, right? Should I eat that much bread? No, I should not, but I do. But I'll buy like some rolls from like a store made by some company, and I'll eat, and I will feel so bloated after, and it's like, oh my God, I feel like I just ate turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. I will make my own, and I can eat so much of it and not feel like that. So I know it's work, but at the same time, what's more beneficial? Eat the junk that they put in the stores and live a shorter life? Or take a little bit of time and pre-prep some stuff so you can have better food and maybe live a better life and a longer life. It's a big when it comes to all that, I know. Better, easier said than done kind of thing. Everybody's situation is different, obviously. But anywhere where you can make change. Because my whole point of this is, it's not just about eating and eating healthy and eating better. It's about making choices and things and accepting things that are best for you and accepting you for who you are. You know? Can you change other people? Of course not. Can you change yourself? Of course you can, right? There's always room for change. There's always room for better. So yes, if you can take 5 whole minutes and make your own bouillon to make soups or whatever you need it for, recipes, right? And you know everything that's in there because you put it in there. And let me tell you, it is the most amazing bouillon I've ever had. It tastes nothing like the store. Again, look at your pre-made broth, chicken broth. Oh my God, you're going to pay $3 for a carton of chicken broth and use it once for your soup and boom, it's gone, right? And check the ingredients, full of junk. You can't pronounce it. It should not be in your body. But, you know, we need to start accepting what is best for us, really, truly. Accept what is best for you. You know, if you can make some change, even if it's small, like making your own bouillon instead of buying the store-bought stuff that's going to cost you a fortune. Do you need some spices for that? Of course you do. It's basically nutritional yeast. It's not like yeast for bread. Nutritional yeast, and it's got, I don't know, probably like garlic and onion and pepper and parsley and there's all kinds of things in it. It's so good. You know, making your own stuff, it helps. But again, it's acceptance. So do you want to accept yourself for who you are and what you're doing in a good way, a bad way? How do you want to go? How do you want this to go? You know? But all I can say is I accept each and every one of you for who you are and what your thought process is and what your belief is. And that's fine. Because I don't want to be a judgmental person. I want people to be who they are. And that's basically what I want for you. I have learned to be who I am. I have learned to realize that people are not always going to agree with me. I know people may take some of what I say and not the rest, and that's fine too. But all I know is whatever I put out there into the world, it's for whoever needs it. So even if one person comes back and says, hey, thanks, I really needed that today, I've done my job. So one thing I would like to ask of you guys is do your best. Do your best. Accept yourself for who you are, as you are. Don't worry about rejection, Because rejection is just thank you, because whatever it was wasn't meant to be there anymore. Live your life to the fullest. Be happy. Be as healthy as you can be. Do the best for yourself that you can. Do not accept society's norm as your own. Because again, society is one thought process. You know, people say, oh, well, society says. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Church says too, but which church are you going to and which one are you listening to? Just because society says it doesn't mean it's true. We no longer live in the times of Downton Abbey and the Gilded Age, where society status was a huge thing, right? You know what? There's a lot of billionaires in the world, a lot of celebrities in the world. I really don't care. This is my world. This is me living. And I'm going to live it the way I want to. You know? Everybody's so quick to judge, so quick to throw down, so quick to mock. It's like, whatever. Done. So, again, I wish you well. I wish you all the best. I wish you acceptance. I wish you happiness and joy and love and self-love and self-care. And just keep learning, keep living. And remember, don't do what's easy, do what's right. Even when doing what's right is hard. Because, you know, easy is just not going to help you. So, those are my words for this week. Acceptance and rejection. Never feel rejected, because the only person you need to know that accepts you is you. Everybody else, bye-bye. It doesn't matter. Right? Right. So, that's it for today. I'm going to pick one more card. Let's see what we got. There you go. Manifesting miracles, right? So what is it you want? What is it you want in life? You know, if you want to do more for yourself, go out and do it. Put it out there to the universe. Help me to achieve this. Help me to go here. Help me to do that. Help me to whatever I want to do. And trust and believe that the universe is helping you every minute of every day. And I wish you all the best again. Have a great week. I will see you guys next Thursday. So for now, it's bye-bye from Mama Christine. Have a great one, everybody.